Okay. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Scha Om Jnana Timaranda Shagyana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supurakam Gurganarasisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govinda Bidam Ujvalam Varatanam Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Bande Vishwagurun Shah Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bijapranam Devam Divyatanam Suchandabaranam Balarka Chelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadeka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Bandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nashishvara Shridharam Bansha Kalpatarubhyas Chakripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavenebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad. This is Madhya-lila, chapter 25. The residents of Varanasi become Vaishnavas. Start with text number 75. Tehoko he tomara purve ninda aparada je korila tomara charana sparshe sab koya gela. Prakashananda Saraswati replied, formerly I committed many offenses against you by blaspheming you, but now the effects of my offenses are counteracted by my touching your lotus feet. Jivan mukta api punar yanti samsara vasanam yadi achintya mahashakto bhagavati aparadinaha. If a person considered liberated in this life commits offenses against the reservoir of inconceivable potencies, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he will again fall down and desire the material atmosphere for material enjoyment. Savai Bhagavata Srimad Pada Sparsha Hata Shubha Beje Sarpa Vapur Hitva Rupam Vidya Rupam Vidyara Chitam. Savai Bhagavata Srimad Pada Sparsha Hata Shubha Beje Sarpa Vapur Hitva Rupam Vidyadararchitam. Being touched by the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, that serpent was immediately freed from the reactions of his sinful life. Thus the serpent gave up his body and assumed the body of a beautiful Vidyadhara demigod. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. The inhabitants of Vrindaban, under the leadership of Nanda Maharaj, once went to the bank of the Saraswati on a pilgrimage. Nanda Maharaj was fasting, and he lay down near the forest. At that time, a serpent who was formerly cursed by Angirasa Rishi appeared. The serpent had formerly been named Sudarshan, and he had belonged to the Gandharva Loka planet. However, because he joked with the rishi, he was condemned to take on the body of a big snake. When this serpent attacked Nanda Maharaj began to call, Krishna, help. Krishna immediately appeared and began to kick the serpent with his lotus feet. Due to being touched by the Lord's lotus feet, the serpent was immediately freed from the reactions of a sinful life. Being freed, he again assumed his original form as Sudarshan, the Gandharva. Prabhu kohe Vishnu Vishnu ame kudra jivahin jive Vishnu maniye aparadachina. When Prakashananda Saraswati supported himself by quoting the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately protested by uttering the holy name of Lord Vishnu. The Lord then presented himself as a most fallen living entity, and he said, if anyone accepts a fallen conditioned soul as Vishnu, Bhagavan, or an incarnation, he commits a great offense. So in the conversation with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prakashananda Saraswati said that he had committed offenses by blaspheming Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, if anyone blasphemes the Lord, when blasphemes the Lord, one will immediately fall down from whatever so-called spiritual level he has attained and come back to the mundane or material level. And then Prakashananda Saraswati mentioned an example from the Srimad Bhagavatam of the demigod named Sudarshan, who had previously jested with Angirasa Rishi, and as a result of that, he had been cursed to become a serpent. And when he became a serpent, he stayed in that condition until he was touched by the lotus feet of Krishna. When that serpent swallowed Nanda Maharaj, was swallowing him, then Nanda Maharaj called out for Krishna, and Krishna, who is his son, came and touched that serpent with his feet, and then the serpent was released from his curse and from his body as a serpent. He became again the demigod Sudarshan. But Mahaprabhu immediately objected to being said to be the Supreme Lord, and he called out Vishnu Vishnu, which means one should not, Mahaprabhu would say Vishnu Vishnu if somebody said that he was the Supreme Lord. Mahaprabhu presented himself as an ordinary person. He didn't present himself as the Supreme Lord, although he is the Supreme Lord. So he immediately objected. And then Mahaprabhu goes on to explain, Jive Vishnu Bhuri Dure Je Brahma Rudraksam Narayane Manetare Pashandite Ganan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, to say nothing of ordinary living entities, even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva cannot be considered on the level of Vishnu or Narayan. If one considers them as such, one is immediately considered an offender and atheist. So Mahaprabhu says, if an ordinary person is said to be the Lord, this is a great offense. And even if Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma are put on the level of Vishnu or Narayan, then immediately one becomes an offender. So Mahaprabhu's point is he objected to be called the Supreme Lord by Prakashananda Saraswati. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Daivatai Samadvinaiva Viksheta Sapashande Bhavet Dhruvam. A person who considers demigods like Brahma and Shiva to be on an equal level with Narayan is to be considered an offender, a Pashandi. So what Mahaprabhu does is he makes a statement that even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva shouldn't be considered on the level of Narayan. He made that statement, and then he quotes here in Sanskrit to confirm that point. Prakashananda kohe tumi sakat Bhagavan, tabu jadi koratara dasha abhiman. What was that?
Garlands.
Oh. Prakashananda replied, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. Nonetheless, you are considering yourself his eternal servant. This is factually correct. Prakashananda replied, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. Nonetheless, you are considering yourself his eternal servant. Tabu puja hao tumi bora amahoite sarvanash hoy mora tomara nindate. My dear Lord, you are the Supreme Lord, and although you consider yourself the Lord's servant, you are nonetheless worshipable. You are much greater than I am. Therefore, all my spiritual achievements have been lost because I have blasphemed you. Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayana sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. O great sage, out of many millions of materially liberated people who are free from ignorance, and out of many millions of siddhas who have nearly attained perfection, there is hardly one pure devotee of Narayan. One such a devotee is actually completely satisfied and peaceful. Only such a devotee is actually completely satisfied and peaceful. O great sage, out of many millions of materially liberated people who are free from ignorance, and out of many millions of siddhas who have nearly attained perfection, there is hardly one pure devotee of Narayan. Only such a devotee is actually completely satisfied and peaceful. Ayushriyam yashodharmam lokan ashisha evacha hanti shreyamsi sarvani pumso mahadatikrama. When a person mistreats great souls, his lifespan, opulence, reputation, religion, possessions, and good fortune are all destroyed. Naisham matis tavadurukramangrim sparshati anartha pagamo yad artaha mahiyasam pararajobhishekam niskinchananam na vrinita yavat. Unless human society accepts the dust of the lotus feet of great Mahatmas, devotees who have nothing to do with material possessions, mankind cannot turn its attention to the lotus feet of Krishna. Those lotus feet vanquish all the unwanted, miserable conditions of material life. Unless human society accepts the dust of the lotus feet of great Mahatmas, devotees who have nothing to do with material possessions, mankind cannot turn its attention to the lotus feet of Krishna. Those lotus feet vanquish all the unwanted, miserable conditions of material life. So Krishna says, one who says he is my devotee is not my devotee, but one who says he's a devotee of my devotee, that is really my devotee. So you can't just call yourself a devotee of Krishna. You have to be a servant of one who is serving Krishna. Ebe tomara padamje upajibe bhakti tati lagi kore tomar charane pranati. Henceforward, I shall certainly develop devotional service unto your lotus feet. For this reason, I have come to you and have fallen down at your lotus feet. Etabole prabhure loya tataya vasila prabhure prakashananda puchite lagila. After saying this, Prakashananda Saraswati sat down with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to question the Lord as follows. Mayavade korila chata doshara akyan sabi e janiya charjar kalpita vyakyan. Prakashananda Saraswati said, we can understand the faults you have pointed out in the Mayavad philosophy. All the explanations given by Shankar Acharya are imaginary. So previously, Prakashananda Saraswati, he is a Mayavadi and he accepted completely everything that Shankar Acharya had said. But now, after Mahaprabhu has shown him that the Mayavadi philosophy is not real, it's not actually spiritual, then now Prakashananda Saraswati says all the explanations given by Shankar Acharya are imaginary. So he's completely changed his point of view and his philosophy after meeting with Mahaprabhu. Sutrera korela tumi mukyarta bivaran tahashuni savara hoila chamatkoraman. My dear Lord, whatever direct meaning you have given when explaining the Brahma Sutra is certainly very wonderful to all of us. So the Brahma Sutra is, Mahaprabhu has given this, his correct reading of the Brahma Sutra, which is he says, Tumita Ishwara Tomar Ache Sarva Shakti Sankepa Rupe Kaha Tumi Shunite Hoya Mati. You are the Supreme Personality of God, and therefore you have inconceivable energies. I wish to hear from you briefly about the Brahma Sutra. Prakashananda Saraswati said that he had already understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's explanation of the direct import of the Brahma Sutra. Nonetheless, he was requesting the Lord to now briefly give the purport of the Brahma Sutra, the Vedanta Sutra. Prabhu kohe ami jiva atitucha gyan vyasa sutra gambirarta vyasa bhagavan. Mahaprabhu replied, I am an ordinary living being, and therefore my knowledge is very insignificant. However, the meaning of the Brahma Sutra is very grave because its author, Vyasadeva, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An ordinary living being cannot actually understand the meaning of the Vedanta Sutra. One can understand the meaning if he hears it from the authority Vyasadeva himself. For this purpose, Vyasadeva gave a commentary on the Brahma Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. He had been instructed to do this by his spiritual master Narada. Of course, Shankar Acharya distorted the meaning of the Brahma Sutra because he had a motive to serve. He wanted to establish Vedic knowledge in place of the atheistic knowledge spread by Lord Buddha. No. He wanted to establish Vedic knowledge in place of the atheistic knowledge spread by Lord Buddha. All these necessities are there according to time and circumstance. Neither Lord Buddha nor Shankar Acharya is to be blamed. The time required such an explanation for the understanding of various types of atheists. The conclusion is that one cannot understand the meaning of the Vedanta Sutra without going through Srimad Bhagavatam and rendering devotional service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore further explains the matter in the following verses. Tara sutra artha kon jiva nahi jane ateva apane sutrartha koryache vyakyane. The purport of the Vedanta Sutra is very difficult for an ordinary person to understand, but Vyasadeva, out of his causeless mercy, has personally explained the meaning. Jai Sutra Karta Se Jari Koraye Vyakyan Tabi Sutra Mula Arta Lokera Hoy Gyan. If the Vedanta Sutra is explained by Vyasadeva himself, who has written it, its original meaning can be understood by the people in general. Pranavara Jai Arta Gayatrite Se Hoy Se Arta Chatu Shlokite Vivariya Hoy. The meaning of the sound vibration Omkara is present in the Gayatri mantra. The same is elaborately explained in the 4 shlokas of Srimad Bhagavatam known as the Chatu Shloki. Brahmare Ishwara Chatu Shloke Jai Kohila Brahmanarade Se Upadesha Koila. Whatever was spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to Lord Brahma in these 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam was also explained to Narada by Lord Brahma. Narada se arta vyasare kohila shuni meda vyasamane bichara korila. Whatever Lord Brahma told Narada Muni was again explained by Narada Muni to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva later considered these instructions in his mind. Ayarta Amara Sutra Vyakyanurup Bhagavata Koriba Sutra Bhashya Swarup. Srila Vyasadeva considered that whatever he had received from Narada Muni is an explanation of Omkar. He would elaborately explain in his book Srimad Bhagavatam as a commentary on the Brahma Sutra. The sound vibration Omkara is the root of Vedic knowledge. Omkara is known as the Mahavakya, or supreme sound. Whatever meaning is in the supreme sound Omkara is further understood in the Gayatri mantra. Again, this same meaning is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 4 shlokas known as the Chatu Shloki, which begins with the words Aham Ivasam Evagre. The Lord says, only I existed before the creation. From this statement, 4 shlokas have been composed, and these are known as the Chatu Shloki. In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead informed Lord Brahma about the purport of the Chatu Shloki. Again, Lord Brahma explained this to Narada Muni, and Narada Muni explained it to Srila Vyasadeva. This is the parampara system, the disciplic succession. The import of the Vedic knowledge, the original word, the import of Vedic knowledge, the original word pranava has been explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The conclusion is that the Brahma Sutra is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Is this picture still on? No, here on the phone. ¿Está bien todavía? Okay. Chariveda Upanishade Jatikichu Hoy Tara Arta Loya Vyasa Korila Sanchoy. Vyasadeva collected whatever Vedic conclusions were in the 4 Vedas and 108 Upanishads and placed them in the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. Jai Sutre Jai Rik Vishaya Vachan Bhagavate Se Rik Shloke Nibandan. In the Vedanta Sutra, the purport of all Vedic knowledge is explained, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, the same purport has been explained in 18,000 verses. Ateva Brahma Sutra Bhashya Sri Bhagavat Shloka Upanishad Kohe Ekmat. Therefore, it is to be concluded that the Brahma Sutra is explained vividly in Srimad Bhagavatam. Also, what is explained in the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam has the same purport as what is explained in the Upanishads. Atmavashyam idam vishvam yat kinchi jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bunchita magrida kasyasvidanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things for himself that are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. Bhagavater Sambandha Abhideya Prayojan Chatu Shlokite Prakata Tara Koriyache Lakan. The essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities in that connection, and the goal of life is manifest in the 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Chatu Shloki. Everything is explained in those verses. So Mahaprabhu is here saying that in the 4 verses of the Chatu Shloki, everything of Vedic knowledge is explained. And he says here, Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana is explained. Sambandha means the relationship which everyone has with the Supreme Lord. And Mahaprabhu has explained that as Jiva Swarupoi Krishna, Jiva Swarupoi Krishna Nitya Das. That the Jiva soul, all of us are Jiva souls. The Jiva soul is the eternal servant of the Lord, eternal servant of Krishna. So that's Sambandha. Abhideya means the relationship that we have, because if we're all eternal servants of the Lord, then the process of service or bhakti is the way we have of, if we are eternal servants of the Lord, then we will enter into bhakti or devotional service to the Lord. That is the relationship, and that is, abhideya means the practice. And prayojana means the goal. So we're serving the Lord, and what is the goal of life? Krishna prema prayojana. Prayojana means the goal is Krishna prema prayojana. So Mahaprabhu says, the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam, our relationship with the Supreme Lord, our activities in that connection, and the goal of life is manifest in the 4 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Chatu Shloki. Everything is explained in those verses. Ami Sambandha Tattva Amar Jnana Vigyan Ama Paites Sadhana Bhakti Abhideya Sam. Lord Krishna says, I am the center of all relationships. Knowledge of me and the practical application of that knowledge is actual knowledge. Approaching me for devotional service is called abhideya. Spiritual knowledge means fully understanding the absolute truth in 3 features: impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and the all-pervading and the all-powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ultimately, when one takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engages in the Lord's service, the resultant knowledge is called Vigyan, special knowledge, or the practical application of spiritual knowledge. One should be engaged in the Lord's devotional service to achieve the aim of life called prayojana. The practice of devotional service to attain that goal of life is called abhideya. Sadhanera fal prema mula prayojan se preme pai jiva amara sevan. By rendering devotional service, one gradually rises to the platform of love of Godhead. That is the chief goal of life. On the platform of love of Godhead, one is eternally engaged in the service of the Lord. Jnanam paramaguyam me yad vijnana samanvitam saruhashyam tad angam cha grihana garitam maya. Please hear attentively what I shall speak to you, for transcendental knowledge about me is not only scientific, but full of mysteries. 18 tatvami kohinu amar tomare, 18 tatvami kohinu tomare, jivatumi 18 narive janibare. O Brahma, I shall explain all these truths to you. Since you are a living being, jiva, without my explanation, you will not be able to understand your relationship with me, devotional activity, and life's ultimate goal. Jaichi Amara Swarup, Jaichi Amara Stiti, Jaichi Amara Gun, Karma, Shad Aishvarya Shakti. I shall explain to you my actual form and situation, my attributes, activities, and 6 opulences. I shall explain to you my actual form and situation, my attributes, activities, and 6 opulences. Amar Kripaya E Sab Spuruka Tomare Etaboli Tin Tatwa Kohilata Hare. Lord Krishna assured Lord Brahma, by my mercy all these things will be awakened in you. Saying this, the Lord began to explain the 3 truths, tattvas, to Lord Brahma. Javanaham yata bhavo yadrupa gunakarmaka tataiva tat vigyanam astute mad anugrahat. By my causeless mercy be enlightened in truth about my personality, manifestations, qualities, and pastimes. Shishtira purve shad aishvarya purna amita hoye prapancha prakriti purusha amate loye. Before the creation, the cosmic before the creation of the cosmic manifestation, the Lord said, I existed, and the total material energy, material nature, and the living entities all existed in me. Before the creation of the cosmic manifestation, the Lord said, I existed, and the total material energy, material nature, and the living entities all existed in me. Shrishti koritara madhye ami praveshiye prapanchaje dekasab seho ami hoye. After creating the cosmic manifestation, I entered into it. Whatever you see in the cosmic manifestation is but an expansion of my energy. After creating the cosmic manifestation, I entered into it. Whatever you see in the cosmic manifestation is but an expansion of my energy. Pralaye avashishtami purna hoye prakriti prapancha paya amate loye. When the whole universe dissolves, I remain full in myself, and everything that was manifested is again preserved in me. Ahamivasam evagre nanyad yat sarasat param paschadaham yad etascha yovasi sheta somshmiyaham. Prior to the cosmic manifestation, only I exist, and no phenomena exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I remain eternally. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the first verse of the Chatushloki. For an explanation, you can see Madhya-lila, chapter 1, text 453, but I'll read this verse again. It's the first verse of the Chatushloki. 4 essential verses that explain all Vedic knowledge and are actually the essential understanding of the Vedanta Sutra. Ahameva samevagre nanyad yat sarasat param paschadaham yad etascha yovasishyeta somsmiyaham. Prior to the cosmic manifestation, only I exist and no phenomena exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I remain eternally. Ahameva shlokeham tinabar purnaishvarya shri vigraha stitera nirdar In the verse beginning aham eva, the word aham is expressed 3 times. In the beginning, there are the words aham eva. In the second line, there are the words paschadaham. At the end are the words somsmiyaham. This aham indicates the Supreme Person. By the repetition of aham, the transcendental personality who is complete with 6 opulences is confirmed. Because that verse. So that aham is mentioned, aham eva sameva gre nanyad yad sarasat param paschadaham yad etascha yo vasisheta somsmiyaham. Aham refers to the first person, refers to I, to the Supreme Lord. It's personal. It doesn't mean anything except that person, and Krishna is expressing that before the creation, only I exist. There is nothing else that exists, either no phenomena, no gross or subtle or primordial, nothing besides me exists. And after creation, when we see so much manifestation around us, the whole material nature, Krishna says, only I exist in everything. And after annihilation, when it's all finished, Krishna says, only I remain eternally. And he says this is the understanding of, in this verse of Chatushloki, he says, Aham eva shloke aham 3 bar purnashvarya shri vigrahastira nirdar. In the verse beginning, aham eva, the word aham is expressed 3 times. In the beginning, there are the words aham eva. In the second line, there are the words paschadaham. At the end are the words somsmiyaham. This aham indicates the Supreme Person. By the repetition of aham, the transcendental personality, who is complete with 6 opulences, is confirmed. Ye vigraha nahi mane virakera mane taraniras karibare korila nirdarane. Impersonalists do not accept the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is stressed in this verse in order to impress upon them the necessity of accepting Him. Therefore, the word aham is mentioned 3 times to stress something important. One repeats it 3 times. So now Mahaprabhu is answering Prakashananda Saraswati's questions, and he is explaining the Vedanta Sutra. A sab shabde hoy jnana vijnana vivek maya karya maya hoite ami vyatirek. Lord Krishna continued, actual spiritual knowledge and its practical application are considered in all these sound vibrations. Although the external energy comes from me, I am different from it. Jaise Surya Rastani Bashaye Abas Surya Venus Vatantratara Na Hoy Prakash. Sometimes a reflection of the sun is experienced in place of the sun, but its illumination is never possible independent of the sun. So, tomorrow we'll continue with Mahaprabhu's explanations to Prakashananda Saraswati, who is the leader of the Mayavadis, who is now surrendered with all his disciples to Mahaprabhu. And this chapter explains after their conversion, the chapter is titled, The Residents of Varanasi Become Vaishnavas. So now I'm going to sing Hari Haraya, and we'll finish here. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jadavaya Nama. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama. Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan, Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan, Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohan, Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra, Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra, Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda, Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna, Jaya Rupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna, Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raguna, H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan, H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan, Jao Hoite Vignana Shabishta Puran, Jao Hoite Vignana Shabishta Puran, H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas, H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas, Tasabara Pada Renu Mora Panchagras, Tasabara Pada Renu Mora Panchagras, Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas, Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas, Janame Janame More Abhilash, Janame More Abhilash, H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas, H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas, Radha Krishna Madhya-lila Korila Prakash, Radha Krishna Madhya-lila Korila Prakash, Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban, Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas, Nam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamodas, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Jyoki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Neri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Chariyashta Tarasada Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Chariyashta Tarasada Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sanatan Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunashi Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Namadev Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Srimad Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Kuladev Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shri Nishingadev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Shri Akadasi Upavas Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bol.
Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.